how do you set objectives as a company? That is a process that we've been reviewing over the last couple of weeks as we set our objectives for the next financial year. In the past, it'd be fair to say that it was primarily a process that's done by the senior management team, who then sort of went to the wider business to seek feedback and guidance, and look for engagement ultimately in terms of the objectives that we had set. This year, we're doing some things slightly differently and looking to continue our drive to be more bottom up and collaborative as a company. This has been heavily supported by Annie DeVale from Work Visible, who's been almost an extension of the Space 48 team over the last couple of years. She's really eye-opening some of the workshops and sessions that he's run, so I'm really grateful and continue to be grateful for his guidance. But what I want to go through today is the session that he ran on objective setting, particularly the objective Octopus. One of the fun things about this workshop is that people were able to vote with their feet in terms of the projects that they want to be involved in, and then work with the others in that team to identify what's actually going to be important for this objective. And then they can sort of pick and choose things that they want to be involved in themselves. And so it's not a question about how to get engagement at that point once you've set your objectives, and how to get people involved in contributing to the objectives, because they define them, and clearly those people that have defined the things that are important are much more likely to get involved and do them. So the objective Octopus for the BigCommerce app initiative is what I want to take you through today. But a quick intro into what an objective Octopus is. We have here some nice little graphic from Andy. It's a little bit similar to a goal tree. Just a fun way of displaying it is kind of how I see it, where you have your ultimate outcome that you want to achieve. And so for us, kind of quick preview is that we want to be recognized as a leading BigCommerce app provider by the end of the year, which is, it will be quite a big feat if we manage to achieve it. So I won't let it all go to my head, but really want this to be successful. So what does that look like? That isn't really measurable. And what do we need to get there? And so with this objective Octopus, we get to break that down into critical success factors. So without these, the outcome is impossible to achieve. And that's a real kind of guiding light into things that we are then picking, so we know that we're only picking the most important things. Then armed with that list, we can break each one of those down into further sort of necessary conditions or necessary elements. So by the end, you've sort of built up a to-do list from small item to big item to overall objective. And it's very clear whether or not an idea that you come up with actually is working its way towards achieving this overall objective, rather than kind of the alternative, which is, oh cool, we're building BigCommerce apps, and then everybody contributes ideas. We've got no way of kind of whittling them down to the things that are important or prioritizing them with Moscow. It's very hard to organize and set criteria for what's important or not. But this way, we can as a team agree what's important, and if things come up later, do they fit into each one of these buckets? Is it going to help our critical success factors come to fruition? So I guess a quick preview on kind of how we see it right now. Again, building kind of this in public. We want to launch 5 paid apps. So we want to show our commitment to the BigCommerce ecosystem, get through that cycle of building apps over and over to try and kind of get better and better at them, recognizing that we're not going to put all of our eggs in one basket and don't see that as a way to being successful. We want the revenue to cover a full-time team member at the end of the year. Right now, it's me working full-time, and then other people committing kind of what time that they have. We're not looking for this to kind of turn a profit in the short term, but obviously we're a company. We want this to kind of live on for many years, in which case it needs to kind of earn its keep. There's also a way that we want to do this. Anybody that knows me knows that I really enjoy kind of getting stuck into the weeds and finding out kind of what problems other people are having. And the best way of learning a platform is kind of getting stuck into the forums, getting stuck into kind of the Slack groups and channels, and seeing what problems people are having and trying to solve them, because that's kind of going through that cycle of what are the pain points, what are the challenges, is the best way to learn a platform. Kind of if you increase the number of experiences that you have in any situation, the number of times you experience, the quicker you're going to learn. And I also believe that that way of sharing kind of our learnings, I don't want to be this sort of isolated team where kind of everything that we learn is just ours and is our sort of profit center, and it is our benefit. We want to share along the way, because we believe that kind of the better the ecosystem does, whether that's BigCommerce or whether that's Magento or e-commerce as a whole, like that's only going to help us in the long run as well. And it just feels like the right thing to do. We also want to offer world-class support. So Obviously, as an agency and coming from that background, the service side business, then customer service is paramount. So I feel like we've already got a little bit of a kind of a head start on that one. But we also recognize that managing and supporting an app is going to be different. And so we want to make sure that we can consider each of that and make sure that we can offer great support to our customers. We also, in terms of kind of the size, we want to get to 100 customers. That's kind of a target that's kind of in my head right now. It's achievable. I just don't no idea how quickly that we'll be able to achieve that. But I wanted to put a stake in the ground and try and get to that 100 customers kind of number as soon as possible. So that's a quick run through of kind of where our Octopus is up to date right now. We've then kind of broken each one of those down into kind of their own octopuses, or pretty sure it's octopuses and not octopi. So we can actually build up that to-do list. So for each one of those, we have another octopus. And then as a team, an objective team, for those that are either hands-on or hands-off, we can get together at the very least monthly and share updates along the way in terms of our progress in each of these areas. And so, this is, I was already excited about this objective and kind of getting into the space. But kind of opening this up and getting more people involved is kind of take this to another level. And I'm really excited about what we're working on. I'm really keen to see what we achieve this year.